And we're joined now by Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw of Texas. He is a former Navy SEAL who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Sir, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. You have mentioned the possibility of striking another general. You're referring to Soleimani, of course, the head of the Quds Force that the Trump administration took out in January 2020. Why do you think that would work, considering that it prompted proxy attacks that killed U.S. service members last time?
Yeah, well, first of all, it didn't start the World War III that everybody on CNN and MSNBC and many on the right were also claiming it would, right? The World War III doomsdayers are pretty much always wrong. Maybe one day in the next 500 years they'll be right, but for the most part, if we stand up for ourselves and against our enemies, we will be okay, because we're dealing with a half-rate power like Iran. And of course they did a retaliatory strike, okay? Now, we also had forewarning of it through the Iraqi government, okay? So it was almost like a gentlemanly agreement on their part. Let's be clear about that.
Which strike are you talking about?
But I'm talking about their retaliation for the one you referred to after Soleimani. Right. Look, let's.
But there was
when
a
we're talking
deadly
about
one too.
disproportionate strikes.
Sir, I take your
that's
point.
Fine.
It didn't unleash this
we're
incredible wave, but there were other strikes, including one that did kill U.S. service members. But please finish your thought.
Of course. I mean, that's the back and forth that we continue to see in the region. And so if you want to end that back and forth, if you want to tell the other side that your costs are going to be simply too high if you keep screwing with us, well, then you have to establish that deterrence, and you establish that deterrence by always beating them on the escalation ladder. So far, we have failed to do that. We've had 165 attacks since October, and we have failed to establish deterrence because they keep doing it. They keep trying to kill Americans, and they finally succeeded. Now, luckily, that finally got a response from our president, from multiple senators, from myself, who are saying, we're holding Iran responsible. Maybe we should look at targeting leadership. We should look at targeting infrastructure. I don't have that exact list of targets, right? You can't ask me what exactly I would target because I'm not in the Situation Room. The Department of Defense gives the president a list of targets. Those targets could be people, they could be infrastructure, they could be inside Iran, it could be outside Iran. It could be part of any of one of those groups that you just mentioned. And there's going to be a risk assessment associated with each one of those options. My advice would be to choose the option that makes you just a little uncomfortable. Because if you're choosing that option, you're choosing a disproportionate response that will reestablish deterrence and make them think twice about ever doing this again. I think Kataib Hezbollah's statement was interesting, because it seems clear to me, this is my guess, that the Ayatollah gives them a call and says, hey, you better take full responsibility for this, because now they're calling for retaliation against us, Iran, even though they probably, of course, have manned and equipped and funded those groups. They are directly or indirectly responsible, but they're trying to get out of it now because they're scared, and that's a good sign. Now, that doesn't mean we don't respond. You still need a disproportionate response, and I look forward to seeing what the president has in mind. And I hope that it's something a lot much stronger than what's been getting done in the last few months.
It is an interesting response, certainly from Kataib Hezbollah, and was very surprising that they did that. So what you're talking about is something that could result in further U.S. service member casualties. And I mean, listen, you certainly know service members sign up, right? They take on this risk so that the vast majority of Americans do not have to do that. But if we're just being honest about what this could prompt, that is worth the risk, it sounds like, in your estimation, in your evaluation of this situation. How should Congress, Republicans and Democrats, then communicate about that? Because so often what you hear is the politicization of these deaths.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's one that many ask, and I always scratch my head when it's asked, because I guess my response is, what choice do you think we have? Right? So there seems to be this sense of false choices that many people believe in, which is we can just have peace if we choose peace. But here's the thing about peace: the other side always gets a say in whether you have peace or not. And so we didn't do anything to instigate this particular attack that killed 3 service members. So by the logic of doing nothing and maybe, asking for peace, or maybe sending them nice letters or something, we're going to assume that they're just not going to keep killing Americans. Why would we assume that? I mean, it's within their doctrine to keep killing Americans and expel us from the territory. That's their whole point of existence. It has been for 20, 30 plus years. It's how we ended up in the global war on terror in the first place. So it's just too naive to believe that we can never stand up for ourselves, and that standing up for ourselves only hurts us more. That's how you keep getting bullied, right? International relations, foreign policy, it's not that different from your typical schoolyard bullying tactics. If you want to keep getting bullied, keep signaling to the bully that it's okay when they push you down. And then you'll keep getting bullied and your friends will keep getting bullied.
I don't think
Eventually,
anyone's
you have to
suggesting,
stand up for yourself.
I don't think anyone's suggesting not doing anything, right? It's the range of options at this point and how aggressively you respond, which is being debated at this point in time. I do want to ask you about something pretty important, though, which is Barack Ravid-Vaxios, who is an analyst here at CNN as well, has reported that Secretary of State Blinken has asked the State Department to review policy options for possible U.S. and international recognition of Palestine as a state. And this is coming a day after the UK foreign minister said that the UK will consider doing that in an effort to help end the war. How do you react to that possibility?
It's a much longer conversation. First of all, what are they considering to be Palestine? Are they considering Gaza to be Palestine, or are they referring to the West Bank? I'd love to hear their reasoning as to how they assess it might improve the situation. Look, we as Americans, Democrat and Republican, have been trying to figure out whether it's a one-state or a two-state solution for 30 years at this point. It doesn't work because we're not the ones who live there, and we don't understand the history that literally lives within each and every one of those Israelis and Palestinians. So at first it strikes me as a bit naive given the current situation. But this is the first I've heard about it, so I'll await more details.
Yeah, no, that is certainly fair as you seek more details on that. Congressman, we certainly appreciate you being on with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks.